Hello students, how are you? So today we are going to learn something about layers. Chapter number 4, Introduction to Layers. So before we start, first of all we should know what is a layer. A layer in Synfig refers to different levels on which we can place our drawings, objects or pictures. These are stacked above and below each other. Top layer will hide bottom layers. The layers in Synfig are different from other animation software in the following two aspects. Number one, every object, element, and effect have their own layer. We do not have a layer with multiple effects. In other words, a layer represents a single primitive such as object, outline, or image. Number 2. The upper layer can change the behavior of the layer below it. It can distort or modify the layer beneath. This is done by using effect or filter layers. There are different layers in Synfig such as gradient, blur, distortion, filters, and others. Each layer has its own set of parameters. We can see the parameters of layer by first selecting the layer from the layer panel and then looking into the params panel. Let us look at a small example. Assume we want to give a gradient effect to a circle layer. Let us perform the steps. Number 1. First of all, create a new file. Number 2. Create two circles of different size using circle tool. Draw as overlapping each other and keep the fill color as white. Step number 3. Select the gradient tool from the toolbox. Select outline color of your choice. Now drag the gradient over the area of one of the circle. You can see entire canvas is covered by the gradient. Now this can be useful if you want to use the gradient as the background layer, but we want the gradient to be applied only onto the circle. So you can see entire canvas is covered by the gradient. Now this is useful if you want to use the gradient as a background, but as I told you, we want this gradient to be applied to only objects. Step number 4. Select the gradient layer and go to the params panel. You can see blend method parameter. Blend mode defines how the image is layered on everything below it. By default setting is composite. Let us change it to straight onto. Now you can see that gradient is applied to the object layer below it. If you want the gradient to be applied to only a single object and not all the objects below the gradient layer, for this we will be using encapsulation. Now what is encapsulation? Encapsulation means grouping things together. If we want to apply gradient to a particular object or a group of objects, then we need to encapsulate them into a layer. Step number 5. Select the gradient layer and the circle layer. How will you do this? By pressing and holding Ctrl key to select two layers. Then right click encapsulate. This will create a new layer which is called inline canvas. Click on small triangle to expand it. You can see how the gradient is applied to a single object. In this session, we have learned about layers in Synfig. We also learned how to apply gradient to a single object. In case if you have any questions, please let me know. I would be really happy to resolve it. Thank you and have a joyful day ahead. Bye.